the fact still remains, I am not that same person that I was when I was 18.
So Travis, you spent 2.5 years working on District of Second Chances.
Yeah, well, we both spent 2.5 years working on it.
If you had to sum up the experience in one word, what would it be? Or you can have 3 words.
3 words. Well, I was going to try to say fulfilling. We didn't know what we were getting into when we started making the film. We didn't know where the stories were going to go. We didn't know what COVID was going to look like. We didn't know how the laws were going to unfold and change. So there's a lot we didn't know.
As we discovered, it's really hard to film COVID, no one on the street. You get an empty street. But it really, especially in the beginning, it was quite a factor because people didn't want to meet with us. They were worried about their health or the health of their grandmother. There were times when we just had to reschedule things because one person involved, say at DC jail, would get COVID. And so that was the end of the whole shoot. I feel for the guys who came home in the middle of this. They obviously were glad to come home, but how weird for them to be gone for decades and come back and people were masked. And when we filmed at Destiny Fullwood's house, and she kindly let us into her home office, which was her basement, that was all a factor of COVID. So here she was doing this life-changing work for people, trying to get them out. And she was stuck at home, just a little desk and 2 kids around and, everything that goes with that.
Gene came out and we filmed with him, I feel like almost every day for the first couple of weeks he was out. Like there were some breaks in there, but he had so many meetings, so many business things to do. And these were meetings where COVID was still the tip of everyone's tongue. It was still just watching Gene on these caffeine highs, go and explore the city that he grew up in.
Right, Gene didn't sleep for 4 days, or was it 6?
Or 60.
Since Friday, my release, the moment I stepped out of prison, I haven't slept but a combined 3 hours.
The funny thing was we followed him on that first day where he was trying to take care of business. His energy level would go down like this.
If you shake me and I don't move, I'm not dead, I'm just sleeping.
It didn't ultimately make the film because, in fact, it almost felt like you had to sit in the meetings. Mm-hmm. And then later we filmed with him going back to his old neighborhoods and talking about how his childhood had been and what the influences were that formed him. And I think, that was super interesting. But somehow in the film, it didn't fit because we had done Pete's childhood and it seemed like it was going backwards a little, whereas we wanted to keep the trajectory of the story going that, Gene's out, he's rebuilding his life.
I always used to use the term poverty pressure, not peer pressure, because my friends didn't make me or pressure me to do anything I didn't want to do. It was my circumstances.
We're so fortunate to have filmed with the people that we've filmed with. I mean, top to bottom, everyone involved in this project, from the people in it to the people behind the scenes, we're all fantastic. But it was just interesting knowing that we had these raw, intimate moments with Gene that just didn't fit the story.
Nothing that I would say today can undo what I've done. Nothing I say today can bring back your loved one. Nothing I say today can take away the pain that I have caused you. However, what I would say is that the person that done those bad things are now out here trying to do the very opposite.
After Coley got out, he met with a group of his friends, other IRA guys who had been his support, and also with Dr. Lopez, at that time still with the DC jail. And they had really interesting talks, but we found it just, again, it didn't keep the trajectory of the story going enough, so we unfortunately had to cut that too. And this is how we trimmed it down from 90 or whatever it was to 77.
You had 26 years of choices taken away from you, so I don't think that if you had a dream that I would delay that.
Thank you.
Much longer.
Just in DC, we know that there's so many people who are eligible for IRA, and they all have stories, they all have family members advocating, there's lawyers, there's so many people behind the scenes and so many different stories, but I mean, at the end of the day, we couldn't show hundreds and hundreds of stories of people trying to get out in IRA.
Right, and that's real, right? The bill passes, that's such a triumph, but then all the work has to be done to prepare cases and match people with lawyers and then run it through the court system. You know, that takes a lot of work and time.
When I seen my son walk out the door, my heart dropped to my feet. And I had to bring my heart back up because I knew that it was a God. And God do second chances.